Proceeding into the year of 2016, Universal Orlando Resort would host its grand Halloween event, Halloween Horror Nights, for its 26th time. Coming off the 25th anniversary festivities, this year's event would create all new nightmares to experience, all spearheaded by an existing Horror Nights character. Think you can survive this year's Halloween Horror Nights? Well, you won't stand a chance. This is SP History. In curating the 2016 Halloween Horror Nights event, Universal Creative will continue with last year's concept by creating an overarching original theme for the event, all while letting popular IPs headline the haunted houses. For its theme, it would again require an icon to host, and the one chosen would be of Jack the Clown's companion in carnage, Chance, being her first time as the main icon for the event. Chance's storyline would be a continuation of last year's event, as after she and Jack killed multiple victims in the Carnage Returns stage show, the authorities would apprehend both. While Jack would be put away into his iconic box, Chance would be locked away into Shady Brook Asylum, where here, she entered her theater of mind, where she would concoct sinister nightmares that guests would get to experience in true, horrifying reality. This would be the first time that back-to-back years would have a continued storyline, a great expansion to the overall lore of Halloween Horror Nights. With entering Chance's disturbed psyche, many of her nightmares would be manifestations of some of the most popular horror intellectual properties, adding to the overall event. For the headline IP, Universal would team with another television network, FX, to bring an all-new haunted house based off the popular horror anthology series American Horror Story, a property guests have been longing to be at the event for many years. Other IPs to be featured in the house lineup would be of classic films like The Exorcist and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as well with the return of the zombie television series AMC's The Walking Dead. So with all that mentioned, Halloween Horror Nights 26 would originally run for 31 nights, one more night than previous, between September to October. However, due to Hurricane Matthew canceling the October 6th and 7th nights, Universal would extend the event to November, officially ending on November 5th. Regardless, the event would feature 9 official haunted houses, 1 separately ticketed haunted house, 5 scare zones, and 2 shows, as guests would get to enter Chance's playground and experience the grueling horrors that exist within. Beginning with the houses of the 26th Halloween Horror Nights event, it would mostly consist of popular horror IP-based houses, accompanied by all new original Horror Night nightmares. The first house would be located inside Soundstage 19, a new location, and be based off the popular horror anthology television series American Horror Story, as it shared the same title. Here, guests would get to experience 3 different seasons of the show: Murder House, Freak Show, and Hotel, as they relive the disturbing scenes and characters from each and try to survive their terror. American Horror Story would win House of the Year for 2016. The next house would be located within Soundstage 22 and be another IP house based off the 1973 horror classic film The Exorcist, sharing the same name. Within, guests encounter the unnerving events of the film as they witness the exorcism of Regan MacNeil and her endless torment. Apparently, this is one of the most challenging house adaptations for creative, as most of the film took place in one single room. The third house would be placed inside Soundstage 24 and be a sequel to the 2004 original house, Ghost Town, as this one would be called Ghost Town: The Curse of Lightning Gulch. Inside here, guests would get to return to the plagued western town of Lightning Gulch, where many vengeful souls of the town re-emerge to claim their gold and blood. The following house would also be held within Soundstage 24 and be the fifth and final version of a house based off the popular television series AMC's The Walking Dead, as this iteration would be simply called The Walking Dead. Here, guests would get the full experience of the series as they relive moments from Season 1 to its most recent season as all the deadly walkers return for their yearly feasting. The fifth house would be located within another brand new location, the MIB Tent, a sprung tent located next to the Men in Black Alien Attack attraction, and be the icon house for Chance, as it would be called Lunatics Playground 3D, You Won't Stand a Chance. Here, guests would step right into the storyline of this year's event as they enter Chance's imprisonment and twisted mind, as the Carnage Queen causes mayhem within both. This would be the most recent house to use 3D technology within. The next house would be inside Sprung Tent 2 and be the return of a classic horror slasher to Halloween Horror Nights, as it would be called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Being based off the 1974 original, guests would get to experience the disturbing scenes from the film, as a chainsaw-wielding Leatherface hunts his next victims throughout. The seventh house of the event would be placed within Sprung Tent 1 and be original concept set within a haunted temple, as it would be called Tomb of the Ancients. Here, guests step into a mysterious ancient temple where ultimate evil exists within and is looking to bring hell right back to Earth. The eighth house would be located inside the Parade Warehouse building and be the second house to be based off the iconic slasher franchise Halloween, as this one would be officially called Halloween Hell Comes to Haddonfield. Being based off Halloween 2, guests would get to revisit the first sequel to the terrifying slasher series, as Michael Myers is back with a vengeance and out for blood. The final house of the event would be inside the Shrek Theater and be based off the 2015 Universal horror comedy film Krampus, as it had the same name. Inside here, guests step right into the events of the film as they encounter the evil Santa and his many demented Christmas monsters. Apparently in Krampus' lair scene of the house, snow globes could be found outside containing notable locations like the Meyer House and Shady Brook Asylum. Though there were 9 official haunted houses listed for the event, there would be one separately ticketed haunted house placed alongside American Horror Story in Soundstage 19, and being an escape room type experience called The Repository. Inside here, guests will get to participate in a unique experience where live actors, virtual reality, and real-world elements would be combined to create an original story, where guests must find their way out of the repository. This is a one-of-a-kind offering at Halloween Horror Nights, as it was the first house ever to have an upcharge and include guest participation. Both the Repository and American Horror Story were the first and only houses to ever be placed inside Soundstage 19. This was the complete lineup of haunted houses at this year's Halloween Horror Nights, creating all new terrific IP adaptations and offering a unique guest experience. For the scare zones of this year, the 5 created would individually be unique as guests enter new original Domains of Evil. The first scare zone would be placed within Plaza de Stars in Production Central and be the icon scare zone for Chance, as it was officially titled A Chance in Hell. Here, Chance has broken free from her confinement in Shady Brook, now roaming the streets with her loyal inmates as they look to either recruit their new lunatics or kill anyone who defies them. The second scare zone would be placed in the New York area of the park and be themed as a post-apocalyptic war zone, as it would be called Survive or Die Apocalypse. Here, guests are caught between the clash of ruthless rival gangs as they fight for dominance and look to have guests join their cause or die beneath them. The next scare zone would be located within the San Francisco area and be set in a haunted harbor, as it would be called Dead Man's Wharf. Here, guests encounter the malevolent spirits of the forgotten Annabelle Lee vessel, who have returned to their forsaken grounds to haunt the unfortunate. The fourth scare zone would be placed in the Central Park area and be another evil forest themed zone, as it would be called Lair of the Banshee. Here, guests enter a realm of many evil spirits and creatures who lurk in the dark of the forest and prey on the weak. The final scare zone would be located in the Hollywood area of the park and be filled with bloodthirsty vampires, as it would be called Vamp 55. Within here, guests encountered the 1955 homecoming parade for Hollywood High School, but unfortunately, the parade has gone awry, as vampires dressed as high schoolers have crashed the party and are looking for their next dates to the dance. Though 5 official scare zones occurred at the event, in similar fashion to last year, many other areas of the park would be inhabited by the Ruthless Chainsaw Drill Team, being in the forms of evil cheerleaders, pumpkin heads, and many more. But like every Halloween Horror Nights event, it would have its collection of entertainment offerings held on each night, with this year having 2 energizing shows. The first show would be held near Mel's Drive-In and be a brand new show featuring dance-crazy inmates, as it would be called Academy of Villains House of Fear. The show would be a high-energy dance show as a talented troupe of performers put on a show to die for. Academy of Villains would prove very popular with guests for its excellent sets and energy, leading for many returns of the group in future events. The second show would be located in the Fear Factor live stage and be the 25th anniversary of the most excellent Horror Nights show, Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. In this year's show, the Wild Stallions find themselves on the base of Rilo Red, who has befriended the duo for his own sinister plans, with another cast of characters and celebrities of 2016 causing hijinks and mayhem in an all-new excellent wild adventure. Characters to be within the show is the cast of 2016's Ghostbusters, Eleven from Stranger Things, and the Suicide Squad. This caps off all the offerings at the 26th Halloween Horror Nights event, filled with an abundant amount of street scares and truly entertaining show offerings. In review, Halloween Horror Nights 26 was another standout to the overall history of the Halloween event, continuing to create fantastic house adaptations and letting a Horror Nights original character get their due. But as Chance and her band of freaks find another hell to reside in, Halloween Horror Nights would go away for another year, but returning for the next, as many souls would be requested.